Welcome everybody to the 3Beardz of Wrestling Podcast. We are back with another episode. Jesus, Adrian.
My center, I'm not like my OCD is playing tricks.
Well, we're gonna jump right into business. If you guys have ever wanted to be a professional wrestler, a manager, a valet, a referee, a ring announcer, hit up the Fort Knox Pro Wrestling School. We are having tryouts, $75 for two people, or no, it's $50 for two people, $25
Lord, you charge them extra.
You try to get the other $25 to get me back.
You need to go to sushi heaven. That's why.
I was just going. But yeah, if you guys want to be a professional wrestler and live out your guys' dreams, please reach out to one of us, the Fort Knox page, the Classic Championship Wrestling page, Seven Mountains, or Valor Pro Wrestling, and we will get you guys in the correct spot to get your tryout locked in. Next up is January 24th. We are 2 weeks away. 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks away from Hardcore Hangover, where we return to Lebanon, Pennsylvania, after a killer Black Friday show, with our special guest, Downtown Bruno, will be in the building. Tickets are on sale. Front, second, and balcony are $25 in advance, $25 at the door. General admission, $15 in advance, $20 at the door. So if you guys need tickets, again, hit us up. The podcast page, the Classic Championship Wrestling page, our personal pages, and we will get you to the right person to get tickets. We also have Greektown and Lebanon as one of our ticket outlets. All right. I don't think I want to wait any longer. I think we should bring our guest on.
Yeah, we definitely should bring our guest on. And can I get back on center? I'm just trying to figure out why. Welcome to Victoria. How you doing, ma'am?
I'm doing good.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's introduce our guest. It's the First Lady of Wrestling.
Yes.
The icon of women's sports.
Yes.
In wrestling.
Yes.
The knowledgeable.
Yes.
The talented.
Yes.
The multifaceted.
Yes.
Princess Victoria.
Yes.
Thank you. That $20 I sent you paid off well.
Wait, I only got $1. How do you get 20? What do you do? I only got $1 and Gabe got 20. This was not what we negotiated, Gabe. It's cut them off center.
It's reverse negotiations. You pay me, you come on. No.
I want reparations.
So I'll give you reparations when they give me my land back.
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh, what had happened was, so how are you doing this evening, ma'am?
I'm doing fine, sir. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
So Miss Vicky, we want to start it off kind of like, what got you into the wrestling business back in the 80s?
I got tricked.
Oh, me too.
Sandy Barr tricked me. When I was a little kid, which I still am at times, every day of the week when I was at my grandmother's house, other than Saturday, we ate at the dining room table. You know, that's where we talked, all of that. But on Saturday nights, Granddad was in the recliner, Grandma was on the couch, and I was sitting cross-legged on the floor between Grandpa's legs, and we were watching Saturday Night Wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
And the first taste I got of it live, I was 9 years old. And we had went to Vancouver to see some friends of my grandparents up there. And of course, kids were all antsy because it was all us old folks talking now. And so he said, "Well, let's go to the roller derby and wrestling matches," which I was a stone cold roller derby fan anyway. I love the Thunderbirds.
Oh.
And we went to the matches, and from what I found out, it was the first time Jimmy Snuka had stepped into the ring. And I watched the roller derby, we watched the wrestling, and the first time he did what I call the bat. You know, he'd spread his wings and fly. Well, when the matches were over, Jimmy Snuka stayed there, and he stayed there until there was no line for his autograph. And I've still got the 8x10 he autographed for me at 9 years old.
I hope it's in like a frame or something.
Oh, it's in my cedar chest.
Oh,
it's locked up for life. It's locked up for life.
That's right. That ain't getting into the air or the sun or anywhere else. That's mine. And anyway, I left home when I was 14, and Gabe, have you read my book yet, Gabe?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. I'm reading it. I'm actually doing the audio version of it whenever we're not doing this.
He's
okay.
He can't read that good, but go ahead. I can read it. Catch up.
Don't pick on the illiterate, Adrian.
I know. I get illiterate myself.
Yeah, and that college education is coming in real good for me right now. So
right. And anyway, I left home at 14 because it was basically a leave or die situation. I had a really rough childhood, and I left home when I was 14. Got an apartment. Well, I say an apartment. It was one room, and you showered down the hall with a knife in your hand because the lock didn't lock right.
Oh, so it's like camp.
It was like what?
It was like church camp, basically.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. All right.
And I had my biological mother had made a deal with me that she would write me a letter, because this was back in the day when Mom could write you a letter, a note, you'd take it to the store, and you know, a 5-year-old kid could get a pack of Cools from Mom and Dad. Well, Sylvia wrote me a note that I was 16, not 14, and so that I could get out, go get a job, which I did, and then I started going to the Saturday night matches. Then and I always got general admission. All right, whose house are they going to bust the door down in?
Nah, it's behind me.
And I always paid $5 for the general admission. Well, after my first paycheck, and I'll never forget this dress. I couldn't put it around my thigh now, but it was a chiffon yellow Chinese colored dress. And I bought a set of candies, and all the ladies will know what I'm talking about. You guys ain't got a clue. And I walked in the door. I was up at the counter, went to pay my $5. Sandy Barr handed me a ticket and my $5 back. And I looked at the ticket, and it was for the front row. And I said, "Sandy, you made a mistake." He says, "No, that's your seat from now on, and you don't pay." Ooh. And then for some strange reason, all the wrestlers started falling at my feet when they got thrown out of the ring. Gee, imagine that.
That is strange.
I know. And anyway, I was working at Denny's on 23rd and Burnside, and I had gotten in a little disagreement with the district manager, and I went to the matches that night, told Sandy I needed a job. Now, I'm in a dress and nylons and high heels, and he went to hand me a push broom. And I said, "Sandy, I can't work in that." He said, "All right, I'll see you at 6 o'clock in the morning." And from then on, for about 6 months, I was working with Sandy. From Friday night until Sunday night, you didn't sleep, because we broke down the ring on Friday night, sat up the flea market, Saturday, after the flea market, we broke down the flea market, set the ring back up for wrestling. Then we tore it down and sat back up for wrestling. Now, in between all that, we were taking pictures, developing pictures. He had his own dark room and all that. I mean, I learned all kinds of things. And one day Sandy came to me and he said, Vicki, you know I run a wrestling school, right? I said, no. And he said, well, I've got this girl who wants to train, but I can't let her wrestle with the guys. You know, I can't let her train with the guys. Can you come be a body? And like every good wrestler, although I wasn't one at the time, I said, how much does it pay? And I was there for about 2 weeks, and she was there. And see, we didn't train like they do these days. No, nothing on you, Shane, because from what I understand, you guys are doing it right.
Yes.
But
everybody
like
but Shane.
They trained 6 days a week, 5-6 days a week. And so I go the first night, and I'm basically a body just for her to learn how to put a hold on and all that. And that lasted for about 2 weeks, and then she didn't show up. And then she didn't show up again. And then she didn't show up again. It was pretty much 2 months down the road, and I went, something clicked. And I went, wait a minute. Sandy had me come be a body for this girl because he couldn't have her wrestling the guys, but I'm sitting here doing backdrops, arm drags, all that, and I'm wrestling the guys. Well, it was already too late. I was hooked. Yeah, it was like, and
but I get you.
Yeah, that's it. And in my opinion, which everybody's got one, I think the best wrestlers start out as fans because they've got that heart and soul in the business. And what Sandy did in the ring was there were 4 trash cans, one on each side of the ring. And it was not if you were going to throw up, it was when you were going to throw up and if you were going to hit the garbage can. And we did this 5 and 6 days a week, twice a day. Then Velvet came down from Canada to train. And one day Sandy looked at me and said, I want you to go back to your place. I want you to pack everything you got. I'll pick you up in an hour. Well, Velvet was living with Sandy and Sherry. Me and Velvet ended up training together. And I mean, we woke up at dawn, literally at dawn. Sandy would have us orange juice, fresh squeezed orange juice, not store-bought. We'd drink that. We'd go out by the pool, do some stretches, run 5 miles. Then about an hour after we got back, we'd go to the arena and we'd train for 2 hours. And then we do whatever Sandy wanted us to do. I mean, I even laid tile in the man's dining room. Sandy was something else. He taught me more. He taught me how to tile, how to wrestle, how to develop pictures, how to print, how to do layouts, the whole 9 yards. And then Don Owens took on Velvet and I. And we wrestled for Don for about 3 or 4 months. We were opponents at the time. Then we started out at Ed Moretti's in Idaho. Then we went to Don in the Pacific Northwest. Then we went to Tomco. Then we went back to Don. And one day Sandy came up to us. He said, ladies, he basically told us that Moolah had a stranglehold on women's wrestling and that if we wanted to wrestle, we were going to have to go to Moolah's. And he did not seem happy about it, which, hindsight's 20/20. So Sandy paid for our plane tickets down there. Velvet went straight to Moolah's in Columbia. I stopped off in Charlotte. I was where Piper and the rest of the boys were. I spent 2 weeks just hanging around with Piper and the boys. And then I went to Moolah's. And that's basically how I got into wrestling.
So you got,
I'm thinking about. I read your book. I read your book this morning. No, I'm sorry, Adrian. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I've read most of your book so far, and it's seriously a tearjerker. Like, there's a lot of things in there that I don't know if anybody could say, but when you come down to talking about Moolah, what's the one thing you want to say about her?
I tell everybody that I split Moolah the wrestler and Lillian Ellison the booker into two separate people. Lillian Ellison the booker, she stole from us, she manipulated us, the whole 9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to have respect for Moolah the wrestler. I mean, she came up hard. She started wrestling in 1949. They were shooting women wrestlers at that time. You know, if you were a bad guy, a heel, you could get stabbed or shot, female or male. I mean, Roddy Piper was stabbed 7 different times in his career.
Yeah.
He does have a steel hip. He does have a steel hip. So he did.
Yes, he did. And you know, I mean, I got to do a lot that I wouldn't have gotten to do. I wanted to wrestle. Piper didn't want me to go to Moolah's. He said, Vicky, you can stay here, get on your feet, whatever. But I was hard-headed, and I said, no, I'm going to Moolah. I want to wrestle. And nobody would come out and say anything specific, but the people that I was hanging with, you know, Flair, Piper, Buddy Rose, all of them, none of them wanted me to go to Moolah. But I did anyway, because that's the way I am, you know, would.
Right. Hindsight being what it is, you kind of look back and go, yeah, maybe that wasn't a good idea.
Actually, no. I'm a person who believes everything that happens for a reason. You may not know it right at that moment, but there's a reason. A lot of people ask me, you know, don't you wish you hadn't broke your neck in the ring? And I told them, no, I don't wish that at all. Because if I hadn't broke my neck, I'd have still been, you know, wrestling, managing, whatever. And I'd have never met my first husband, which I had my son John with. And I wouldn't have met my second husband, who was the love of my life, my best friend, the soulmate, the little brother I couldn't kill. You know, if he wasn't making me laugh hysterically, he was holding me when I cried. So, and I wouldn't change any of that. Right. You know, I really wouldn't. But I loved my days in wrestling. I still miss it. I miss the road. And a lot of people, well, don't you miss wrestling? No, I miss the road. You know, going down the road. Yeah, sitting in the back seat, listen to the old timers in the front seat talk, you know, and just the different things we did. One thing happened. Yeah, we all had a day off, which back in my day, that was almost unheard of. You wrestled somewhere between 7 and 9 days a week, because on Saturday and Sunday, you could go wrestle in the afternoon at the local fair, and then you'd be at the high school in the next town that night. And we all had a day off. Piper went and rented a suite, and we all headed to the suite, and we were all having a good time. Now, this was when Wahoo McDaniels had stopped drinking. Now, he knew the crew, but he rented a room right below us, because we told the woman at the desk, look, this is our day off. We're going to be loud. put us in the back where we don't bother anybody. Well, instead of Wahoo getting a place up front, he got a room right below us. And I mean, we're dancing, we're yelling, we're talking junk, you know, we're drinking, having a good time. And all of a sudden you hear knock, knock, knock. And I go open the door and it's Wahoo. And Piper walks up to the door and he says, yeah, what can we do for you? He said, y'all can quiet down so I can get some sleep. And this happened about 2 more times. And then he made the fatal mistake of calling the front desk on us.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. One of the most famous sayings in the dressing room in wrestling in the territories I was in, don't piss off the princess. I mean, I super glued a guy's boots to the ceiling one time.
That's awesome.
After what he did to me.
That's vicious.
That is awesome.
That's vicious.
This is my ass. That is awesome.
Adrian, don't come the 24th.
If you super glue my boot, Shane, I will kick you in your center spot. You understand what I'm saying? I will kick you in your center spot. All right, let you know right now.
No, wait a minute, Adrian. If you do that, you got to fly me in because I want to see it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we should do it to everybody else.
Oh my
God. Miss Vicky, so back in the day, you got the headline pretty much as a woman wrestler in Madison Square Garden. What was that like?
The first time that Velvet and I walked out, and we were going against Joyce and Wendy for the belts. Now, I'd wrestled with some what I called at the time large crowds, 5,000 to 10,000 people max. When I walked out there, it was a sold-out house, 40,000 people. And we were semi-main event going against Wendy, me and Velvet going against Wendy Richter and Joyce Grable for the belt. And if you look at that match, you'll see me. I put my hand on Velvet's arm and we kind of do a look around. And I said, Velvet, look at all these blankety blank people.
You're allowed to swear. You can swear on this podcast, Miss Vicky.
Oh, okay. Well, I wait until you guys tell me it's okay.
Oh no, go ahead. We don't trust because we
are a shithead.
I said, Velvet, look at all these fucking people.
I can't imagine just the feeling that went through your body just looking at all that.
Well, you know, it's weird, but I was trained, whether it was 5 people or 50,000 people, they all got the same effort.
Shane, doesn't that sound familiar?
It sounds like these two guys up here.
When we're training and we're doing matches or whatever, we tell our trainees, act like there's 1,000 people here. You know, there's 10 of us or 15 of us. Act like there's thousands of people here.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. That's Velvet and I had more matches without anybody there, but at the time I thought it was just Sandy. Before Sandy ever put us out for our first match, we had singles matches in the dark at the arena, at the Chautauqua Sports Arena. And if we had one, we had 20. I mean, Sandy, in that day and time, and Shane, it sounds like you and your dad are doing the same thing. In that day and time, it wasn't that you were training somebody to wrestle to start with. What you were doing was cleaning out the trash, the ones whose heart weren't in it.
Yeah.
And you worked them and you worked them. There was one day, now in the Chautauqua Sports Arena, they had one of these big doors where an 18-wheeler backed in. And Sandy had opened the door, and it was me, Velvet, and Terry Allen, Magnum TA. And Sandy was, he was working us to death. And I leaned up against the rope like this and I think I hooked him so I wouldn't fall down. And Magnum was right in front of me, right in front of that door, silhouetted and then that door. And at 75 degrees, I saw steam coming off his head. That's how hard we worked.
It's definitely a lost art form. I can promise you that. Everybody wants to be famous. Everybody wants to go big time, but and I'm sure Adrian and Shane will attest to this. The independent scene is where you cut your teeth, and this is where you make your like. Everybody has jobs. Like these guys both have jobs. Like they have a daily job, and they're coming in there to entertain 70, 100, 200 people a night. Whenever they go to do it, and I have nothing but respect for these guys. Like I've known both of them for a while. I'm more of a historian, but at the end of the day, I'll never say that anything that any of you three do isn't the most remarkable thing I've seen.
Well, and to me, if you're reading my book, and I pulled no punches in that book.
No, it gets pretty deep. It gets pretty deep. I'm actually really deep into it. Like I love every bit of it. Like it's amazing.
Right. Well, and why I wrote it that way was because I went from what you're reading about now to the World Tag Team Champions.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Alberta, Canada, 1984.
Right. Actually, we got the first. No, that was Alberta, Canada. Alberta. 80. Now, see, I broke my neck the first week
84 in
September
Philadelphia.
In 84.
Yeah, in Philadelphia.
There you go. And now I just lost my train of thought. Well, if you see something little, running around the floor, grab it. It's my brain. It escaped.
Squirrel. Skill squirrel.
Yeah, we do that with Shane all the time. Don't feel bad.
That's factual facts.
It's all the chair shots, to be honest.
Yeah, one-way signs too.
Yeah.
Y'all ain't right. I love it. But it was just wrestling saved my life. And the reason I wrote that book like I wrote it is so that people could see how bad it was for me and my brothers. Now, I've lost one of my brothers to AIDS. I've lost another one to suicide. And I'm not even going to talk about the third one. Just say things ain't great. When you got 10 kids and only one of them are talking to you, there's definitely a problem.
Absolutely.
And I was able, because of wrestling, I mean, they grabbed me in Portland. They grabbed me. I was little sister. And you didn't mess with little sister. I heard Piper put somebody into a dang locker because he was trying to mess with me. Matt Bourne, and this is funny. Oh God. Matt was like this little boy on the playground, and he, pulling your pigtails. And he'd try to sneak in on Velvet and I in the shower, and his dad, Tony Boren, was standing in front of the door to keep Matt out. And sorry, it's about to get a little gross, guys. Matt grabbed my underwear out of.
No apologies needed.
Right. Yeah, well, you may change your mind in a minute. Matt grabbed a pair of my panties out of my bag, and he held them up, and he said, "Look, the bitch can't even wipe her ass." And I just, I was so used to it. I looked at him. I said, "Matt, that's blood." He dropped them things like he'd been bit. Now,
Adrian's gonna die. He's gonna have another heart attack.
I know. Now, oh no, here comes the best part. That was just, that was just the first high spot. Now, we go to Eugene. And Matt's not there yet. I've got my gear on. And one thing I was told that has stuck in my head to this day is when an old timer talks, you shut your mouth, you open your ears, and you do what you're told. Well, Tony Bourne, who was a perfect gentleman, he called me over. He said, Princess, he said, I want you to sit on my lap, and I want you to put your arms around my neck. And I kind of, my left eye kind of started doing one of these, doing a Luke Williams. But I did it. Now I'm sitting there with my arms around Tony's neck, and all of a sudden, now at this time I'm 18 and Tony's 50 plus.
Right.
Tony laid a lip lock from hell on me. I mean, bent me over backwards and all that. But he'd already told me, go with whatever I do. He bent me over. He laid a lip lock. I gave the receipt. And all of a sudden you hear clunk. Do you remember the old metal cases that we used to carry our gear in?
Yes.
Anyway, you hear clunk. And then you hear, oh, hell fucking no. And Tony sits me up and looks at Matt and says, look, don't talk to your new stepmother like that. You will treat her with respect. Oh, for one solid week, where Tony was, I was. Where I was, Tony was. We rode together. We ate together. We stayed in the same motel room for a solid week. Matt thought that Tony and I had slipped off to Vegas and got married.
So you listen. You're the most humble person we've ever had on this show. You got a cauliflower award. Do you want to talk about the cauliflower award in 2018?
That was a shock. That came out of nowhere. I mean, I had just started getting back to talking to the guys on Facebook because when everything happened like it did, and I'll get into that later, I disappeared for 40 years. And I got a call from Brian Blair out of the blue. I had been to the Gulf Coast Wrestling reunion. I had been to, what's his name in Tennessee? Scott Teal. I had been to his reunion. And I was, just getting back into being with my brothers again. Because at that time, unlike today, and these kids are missing it, we were one big dysfunctional family.
Right.
I could be mad at you, Adrian. I could be mad at you to where I wanted to cut your throat. But if you called me at 3:00 in the morning and said, sis, I'm broke down, I'm at mile marker such on such and such a highway, can you come get me? I wouldn't even stop to change out of my pajamas. I'd get in the car and I'd go get you. That's the way we were.
Shane, this sounds familiar. I swear, this sounds so familiar. I don't know where this is coming from. This
sounds amazing, honestly.
Yeah. Thank you, Shane. Tell your dad I said thank you too.
I will. Definitely will.
Those things that he keeps saying he's heard it before. Those are main key points.
Absolutely.
You may not be able to tell the difference between an arm drag and a flying mare, but you got to know those rules.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which
absolutely.
Some of the girls in the ring there for a while didn't, but I digress. But and when I broke my neck in the ring, and then pretty much figured out I'd never wrestle again, and Moolah had thrown me to the wolves. I mean, she brought me in one day after I broke my neck, and I remember the match we had that night. And I remember walking back to the dressing room and sitting down. And of course we cooled off because you didn't get into a shower still sweating. So I bent over and I went to unlace my boots, and I felt something pull. And I'm sure both Shane and Adrian have all been in this position. You go, oh God, what muscle have I pulled now? So you sit back up, cool down a little bit longer. And the last thing I remember was reaching down to untie my boots again. The next thing I remember, I was on a gurney with two EMTs, and they were putting me in an ambulance to take me to the hospital. I've got about 30 seconds at the hospital that I remember. Now, we were in Philadelphia. I, to this day, have no memory of how I got from Philadelphia back to Columbia, South Carolina. And Mula would come to the house every day, and she'd walk me out to the gym, out to the barn, and she'd have me take a bump, and I'd scream. My neck was broke. One day she brought me in, and she said, Vicki, I've got this guy on the phone that wants to talk to you. He's a big fan, and he wants to fly you to Holland, and you to spend a couple of weeks with him. And so I talked to Ernie Van Gilder, and I made it very, very, very plain. Separate motel rooms. That was it. The first morning I woke up, when I got to Holland, I caught his hand right here. Now, you got to understand, I'm not no innocent child. And at that time, I wasn't no innocent child. But this man had not gotten beat by the ugly stick. This man had gotten beat by the whole damn forest.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
He was so white, he was translucent.
Oh, okay. So we called them cats. We called them cats.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and like I said, I was no innocent angel, but this was not in my playbook. There was not enough money, drugs, liquor, nothing. Even a date with Elvis could not have made me sleep with this guy.
Oh.
So I get back, and I found out later that Mula was in a rage. I can't believe she didn't sleep with him. Because the last thing she told me before I got in the plane was, now, the nicer you are to Ernie Hahn, the nicer he'll be to you. And you need a good payday. I don't care.
Not that good.
Nah.
Not that good.
No. You can't get that drunk.
Adrian, look at that. You just look at Adrian's face. He's like, I've been there one time.
Right?
Look,
that's called a Missouri double sacker. That's where you put a bag over his head and one over your head in case his falls off.
Exactly.
I remember last week Adrian said whatever happens in the dark stays in the dark. So
yeah, not that damn dark though. You can't. Ain't that
there ain't nothing. No, they're no.
Not what she described.
Dark side of the moon ain't dark enough.
Stevie Wonder would see that. Did you like?
This guy was not ugly.
What was it? What was it like filming with those guys when you did the Mula episode on Dark Side of the Ring?
Oh, they were great. They were absolutely great. They came to the house. They had over 2,000 pounds of equipment, speakers and all that. I mean, this was professional. And they were fun to be around. They'd give me a break. I'd say, guys, I got to go smoke, and that's one thing I don't do on cameras. I don't smoke. It's a nasty habit. Yes, I do it, but I don't promote it. And they just let me be me.
Why are you guys?
That was just Adrian shooting at Shane real quick.
Right. Like, he's vaping on camera. You should stop it.
Yeah,
that
you don't vape.
I saw you. Don't you lie. I saw.
We're not talking about me. We're talking about Shane. He's impressionable and young.
Yeah, we
well,
never talked
what I
about
want to
Adrian.
know is what were you vaping?
No, trust me, it's legal. I can't. I don't. Hey, so
I got him backed in a corner now. Should I let him out?
Oh shit!
Next question.
You got to go to the bathroom there, Adrian?
No, I'm fine.
Oh my goodness!
But anyway, I get back from Holland, and I didn't find this out till years later, but Moolah was on that rampage. And about a week after I got back, she pulled me into her house. She didn't even let me go in the office this time. She said, "You owe me 3 months rent. I'll take the brown outfit, the yellow outfit, and the white and gold outfit, and the boots to match, and you're paid up. And you either need to get a job and start paying your rent, or you need to go." I left Moolah's with everything I could pack in my Chevy Malibu station wagon and $20 in my pocket.
Wow.
I mean, she threw me to the wolves.
So where did you go from there?
Well, I was sleeping in my car for about a week. You know, because $20 even back in the 80s ain't gonna buy no motel room.
That's fact.
And I had, you know, I believe it or not, I did things like collect bottles, collect cans, turn them in. You know, you do what you got to do.
Right.
And I was looking for a job. You know, you do what you got to do. And I met my first husband, my ex-husband, in a bar in Columbia, South Carolina. And then it just kind of rolled from there. I married him. We were together 6 years before I married him. I had my son. He's done everything I asked him to. He is an attorney at law. He put himself through college. He waited until he was done with school to get married. He hasn't got anybody pregnant yet, you know.
So Miss Vicky, if I were to ask you, out of everything you've done in your wrestling career, what is the one thing that you're the most proud of?
I can't pick just one. You know, I mean, I was wrestling with ladies like Leilani Kai, Judy Martin, Joyce Grable, Velvet McIntyre, and we never had a bad match. None of us. You know, I think that the one thing that I'm very proud of, and boy, did I get hell for it. Wendy and I were in the ring, and once again, somehow everything happens in Philadelphia. And we were wrestling, and I took her and I threw her out between the second and third rope, and she, of course, landed on the concrete. And this big old boy, and I mean big, we're talking 6'2", 6'3", 3.25", and it was solid muscle, and he had on cowboy boots. And he come up out of the crowd, and Wendy was laying there, and he kicked her right in her nether regions.
Oh shit!
I come out of that ring quicker than Speedy Gonzalez on a good day. And they had to pull me off of him. And they've got Wendy on a gurney, and they got this guy, you know, of course, the security has this guy, and I'm behind him, and I'm just, you know, I'm taking every free shot I can get.
Hell yeah.
And Moolah's over there. Kayfabe. I said, kayfabe, hell, I'm going to kill this motherfucker. You know, I mean, no fan has the right to lay their hands on any wrestler. And if you do,
you're going to learn the hard way.
Exactly. The only person I've never seen learn the hard way was my little brother. And We were in Salem, and there was an 8-man over-the-top battle royal, and it was right after. You guys have heard about the great Buddy Rose Piper feud?
Yes.
All right. Piper had just left. It was right at the tail end of that feud, which Buddy was the most hated man in the Pacific Northwest. Buddy put me over. I was supposed to go out first. They ended up having me in the ring last with Buddy Rose. Buddy made me. I will give that to that man from here till the day I die. Buddy Rose made me. And Buddy and Rip snuck up behind me. Why, I don't know, with as big as he is, but he snuck up behind me and they took me by the arm like this. And we were at the Salem Theater and it was a brick wall. Well, when they threw me, I flew and I hit way up and slid down the brick wall and busted my head open. Well, I'm laying there, you know, and because I'm not in a really good mood to move. And all of a sudden I look up, I'm laying on the ground. I look up and here's my little brother straddling me. And I had taught him to box because he was a little fat, overweight, freckle-faced kid in school and everybody liked to pick on him. So I taught him how to box. And he's sitting there and he's in perfect boxing stance. And he looks at Buddy Rose and Rip Oliver. He says, "You touch her again, you son of a bitch, and I'll kill you." Well, I couldn't get up. You know, there was no way that it was reasonable for me to get up. And Sandy sent the security guards after him. And they were gentle because they knew it was my brother. And I had to sit down with my brother and I had to explain to him that he couldn't do that, that this was my job. And no matter what happened, he was never to lay his hand on another wrestler unless he was in the ring wrestling with them.
Right.
And no, I did not smarten my family up at that time. Vinnie Mac is... Vince McMahon
no, you're
is
good.
one
You're good. You're good.
Yeah, Vince McMahon was the one that smartened my family up. This was back in probably late 80s. And I did not, because I didn't want to take that away from them. You know, they loved wrestling. So why would I take that away from them?
Right.
Absolutely. Do you think the difference between kayfabe from your time in the 80s, 90s, and the kayfabe now, what do you feel like is the big difference? Like now there's documentaries behind the scenes, Triple H doing things, and it's like everything's been unedited. It's
everything's
just
uncovered now, and Vince McMahon did that. And what I've told people is the business has been exposed since 1950 several times. And I'm talking more than a dozen. And it never hit like it did this time because this was a promoter, not a wrestler doing it. And instead of the guys pulling tight and still keeping kayfabe, they just said, "Oh, hell, we're done with it." You know, and that's a shame because back in my day, you wanted to bring those people in the crowd into the story. You know, you wanted them, you want them to scream at the bad guy. You wanted them to, holler for the good guy. And, one of my famous tricks was, especially if Wendy got me in a blasted reverse, I'd let one tear fall. I'd find now I'll tell on myself, I'd find a good looking guy in the crowd and then I'd let a tear fall.
Oh, yeah.
It's Adrian.
You boys think you're the only one who can do that stuff?
I mean, no, trust me. I learned all my tricks from both females, so I got you. Anyway,
so we're coming down to like the last 9 minutes of this episode. So you got a book coming out.
Yes, sir. I've got, and Gabe, you have the covers.
Yep,
This
Shane's got
is
him right
this
there.
is this is my next book coming out. Is Fighting the Wrong Side of the Sun, and it is from basically my beginnings way before wrestling, into wrestling, and through wrestling. It's basically my life story.
Nice.
And I found out that my biological dad, who I never met, was a gypsy, or not my dad, my great great grandfather on my dad's side was a gypsy and did the knife throwing act in the gypsy carnivals. I'm learning stuff. Yeah, I'm waiting for him to come up and tell me I'm related to Bonnie or Clyde. But this is the complete story. I mean, right up until the last page will be the day, about the day before we published the book. And as you can see by the artwork, Tom Strasdis is the author of this, and he is doing an absolutely fantastic job. Now, I also have, this is my first book. It's Princess Victoria, A Tale of Tears, Triumphs, and Turnbuckles. And I have those ready. They're $35 autographed, personalized, including shipping. I also, if you noticed, I've got this choker on. I make jewelry.
Ooh,
Yeah, I make good. This is all buffalo bone and turquoise. I don't do the cheap stuff.
It's
Now, this
beautiful.
is one piece. Let me get my. This is another one I made, just a regular necklace. And this is one I just finished. Right there. Now that's buffalo bone and gold tiger eye and quartz. So I do that. I've got 8x10s for sale, and all you have to do is contact me on Facebook. It's www.facebook.com/Vicky.Otis.7. Or you can just type in Vicky Otis, VICKIOTIS, and I'm usually the first one that pops up. And I do seminars, I do signings, I'll do Zoom meetings, and virtual signings, all of that.
nice.
Sounds
And
good.
I appreciate you guys for having me on. I had a real
Miss
good time
Vicky,
tonight.
it's been an honest pleasure working with you. You've been nothing but a gem. Thank you so much for coming to join us. I think there's nothing that our fans can't see that makes you the legend that you really are.
I'm just me, man. I'm just me.
And that's a great
You
thing to do.
know. Thank you,
Just
Adrian. That was
keep being you, because it's hella good.
right.
But thank
I
yeah, but beyond all three of us, I mean, we want to thank you. Like you are a legend, and you deserve that contract, and it'll be coming, I'm sure. But thank you so
well,
much for the time you spent with us.
yes, thank you. One more plug. I will be at the gathering in Charlotte this August. So I expect to see a whole bunch of people there.
Send me
And I
a link. Send me a link, Vicky, to where it's at, and then we'll put it on the page.
it's at, yeah, I'll just send, yeah. Marty Demoto is the one who does it. I'll send you a link to it, Gabe. It is, I went there in 2013 when another gentleman was doing it, and it was highly disorganized. The last time I went to the gathering, it was amazing. Everything was in its place, and it had a place for everything. And I enjoyed being there. And I'm going this year, and I will have my new book when I get there.
Sounds good.
That's awesome. I can't wait to read the new book. When I get through the first one, I'm about halfway through right now. Like I said, it's a heart wrencher. Tears, turnbuckles. It's amazing.
Tears, triumphs, and turnbuckles, and
but it hits you in the soul. Like it's a real take.
I wanted to let everybody know, no matter how dark it is, look how dark my life was as a child, and look where I ended up. There's always, do not make a permanent decision to cure a temporary situation. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. I mean, yeah, there's times, I'm not going to lie, there were several times I tried to commit suicide, and thank God I didn't. Because I would have missed out on everything that I've done.
Yourself isn't a solid answer. It's a
permanent solution
to a temporary problem.
Absolutely correct.
Mental health is a big thing. I think all of us can agree with that. That mental health is a serious issue and it needs to be addressed. And if you need help, there's numbers out there.
And there's no shame in asking for help. The shame is when you don't. You need to ask for help. And like I said, when I was in the business, we were one big family, and we all had our shares of bad days. And I wrote that the way I wrote that so that people could see I can go from this low to this high.
Exactly.
You just gotta wait it out, man.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Vicky. When I read your book, when I hit the part about your childhood, I teared up like a small baby in the corner. Like
I'm sorry.
Just like no, that's what I want though. Like I want to hear your story like that. That was the best thing in the world.
Right. And I've actually had a gentleman, and a lot of people don't understand. It's not just girls who go through what I went through. There's guys that go through it too, but they've been taught to keep their mouths shut.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And I'm looking for them to open up, because there's no shame. There's no shame. It's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. So
yeah, it's guys. If guys and girls who are watching, if you don't grab her book, please grab it, because it is one of the best reads. I'm not a big reader of books, but for Miss Vicky, I read her book and I'm halfway through it, and it is amazing.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I really do.
No worries. It's awesome, Vicky. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you again for coming on.
So much.
Feel like there's so much we didn't get to talk about, but
that's why there can always be a part two.
Yeah, Miss Vicky, would you be willing to do a part two?
Of course. Of course.
Well,
I had fun tonight. You guys are great.
I'll reach out to you. We have one guest for next week, and then we'll kind of figure out if you want to do a part two, and we can dive deeper into this.
All right. Well, now all Tuesdays and Thursdays are booked.
Yeah, you sent me your calendar, so I got that.
And then I've got a show. I've got a podcast on the 16th, but the rest of January is free. I'm not booked for anything yet, but that's because I only, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. So
no worries. I'll reach out to you. I'll reach out to you probably the next day or two and just see. I'll talk with the guys and see what they want to do, and then we'll definitely. I mean, if you guys want, I'd love to have her back on.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah. That's a
let's have fun.
Yeah. Let's have fun. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
I thought this was incredibly fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Shane, thank you for what your dad and you are doing. I mean that from the heart. I really mean that for the heart. Thank you for the way you're training people, how you're running the territory, the whole 9 yards. Thank you so much.
Always.
He's a man of few words.
Yeah.
Listen. I know. He just sat up in the corner being quiet, listening.
And Adrian could back me up on this, because me and Adrian knew each other for I don't even know how long now. But
oh my God,
when we're listening to vets or anything in the business, I have always been taught to be quiet and listen. And when we have vets on, or really anyone, I like to hear people's stories, especially because I'm so involved in wrestling, and listening to the history about wrestling and and people's careers that they've had is great. So
Yep.
And it's amazing hearing all the different stories and stuff that we've
and
been
see,
able to acquire.
Well, and see, I haven't told the Stan Stasiak story or Stan Stasiak. There's another one I haven't told.
We need some more Buddy Rose stories.
Junkyard Dog.
yeah, see now we're gonna have to have a part 2. Like
Yeah,
Part two.
there's questions I'm gonna ask you about some stuff, and I'm like, hey, I want to get your opinion on it since we were all trained the same way, and the state of things now. So, but yeah, definitely part 2.
Sounds good to me, guys. Just hit me up. I'm here.
All righty. Well, thank you again.
Thank you very much.
And this ends our episode for this week. Until next week, fellas. I'll talk to you guys
next week. You said next week?
Yeah, WrestleMania next week.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, WrestleMania next week. All right.